I've never been introduced as a pig before, but always a good start. I know what you're all thinking. What the hell is a photographer doing on stage? Well, long before I was a photographer, I was a journalist. Long before I was a P&Ger, I was a journalist and a storyteller. And if you count all those years that I did it before, during, and since, I could probably rival some of the more senior P&Gers who lasted in the company. So, good amounts of experience between us. Now, as I was introduced with a snort, I'm here because someone had to make sense of all this wild, ambitious conferences, and to do it in a way that's honest, sharp, and leaves you with something to walk away with, something to do. Right? It's lovely hearing about all this, but if there's no action, if there's no KPI, it's like it never happened. Now, let's be honest one more time. If anyone is trained to distill chaos into insight, it's CMK, which coincidentally was my function. And a shout out to all the ex-CMKers in the room. So, with my CMK hat on, let's begin the way we always do, with some statistically dubious data. The conference had over 500 attendees, average age north of 40, with I think Mohan holding the crown at 84. The youngest is around 32. Gender split, I think 60-40 male-female. Global reach, I think we saw the first day, someone from every continent except Antarctica. We really need to get those polar bear P&Gers in. And yes, so rough split of what people are doing, 10% in brands, 20% in agencies, 55% some form of independent consultancy, 15% retired and figuring it out. Now, if you're wondering why the percentages don't match the graphics, that's because AI sucks. Now, one more disclaimer to the data. All of this was collected through about 20 ad hoc interviews I did during cocktail hour, so by no means statistically significant or probably very accurate, but there you go. Now, I have 164 more slides like this. Would you like to see them? It says no here. Okay. So, no. Okay. Well, that's good because I'd rather tell you a story anyway. Think back to your very first day when you walked into your first P&G office or plant or site. I want you to close your eyes, and I really mean close your eyes. If not, I won't continue and we'll just stand here for the rest of the time. What did you see when you walked in? What did you smell? What did you hear? Was it industrial solvents? Was it a waft of Hugo Boss before we sold it? Now hold that moment and keep your eyes closed. Because every story starts the same way. A hero leaves home, faces challenges, and changes. But the real story, the one we rarely ever tell, and rarely ever written in books, is what happens when they come back. Back with something valuable for their teams, their communities, their families. Eyes remain closed. There's a sequence here. And that's what this conference is. 500 return journeys. 502, I think. Some have been developed over the last 5 years, some over the last 15, some since before I hit puberty. But we all brought back something. A business, a question, a purpose, and for 48 hours, we've reconnected to something even more powerful. A shared language, a belief in people, an itch to make things better. You can open your eyes now. So maybe the real insight here isn't that the cost of a conference ticket pales in terms of the ROI that you get. And I say that just in case the price tickets go up next year. Right? Behavioral science, anchoring for anyone keeping score. The real insight is really this. When you gather this kind of tribe, what you get isn't really a conference. It's a homecoming. Now, we all came here because of uncertainty. Thank you, Doc Committee, for scaring the hell out of us, and thank you to the world for continuing. But we all arrived asking one key question. What now? And as always, Jesper Vigant has the answer, and it sounds intelligent. What's happening now will one day become the after. And when we get there, may we say we started with good people and we did the right thing. Right? As I said, intelligent. But what the hell does good mean? It's such a sliding scale. Well, for that, we need another veteran from P&G to give us the answer. P&G people have a specific set of values. That's where the trust comes from. I think you all know who that is. And so the real question behind all of this is our resilience. What is it? We need to break it down, and quickly, because I'm running out of time. Resilience can be a way of thinking. As Daniel said yesterday, reframe what happens to you. Everything, and I do mean everything, is a good thing. It's a privilege to be able to feel all kinds of things. That's not optimism. It's training your brain to metabolize stress into a positive signal. Resilience can also be a way of seeing. As James Lafferty said, you strengthen your personal resilience by resetting your perspective. It's not about ignoring hardship, but it's about noticing how much of your stress is self-inflicted and how much of your strength is still untapped. Now, resilience is also about self-regulation. Sheila reminded this to us yesterday. Breath and breathing is a leadership skill. So let's try it very quickly. I want you all to inhale for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Inhale one more time. 1, 2, and deep exhale out the mouth. You should all feel super centered and super clear, and everything is right with the world. Ooh, some grim faces. Right, moving on. Resilience can also be about brands and brand design. From Adidas, we learned that nothing can be built in an unbreakable way, but you can build something to be memorable and to be able to withstand and cope with the breaks that will come. From Aperol, well, Aperol talks tennis in Australia, it talks music festivals in the US. It changes the how behind the product, but not the why or the what. And as for Audemars Piguet, they're building 20-year-long movements which will be sold to current 8-year-olds. So think about the resilience you have to have in your own strategy and plan to plan for that. Resilience isn't a bounce back. Sorry, it's a blueprint and it's enlightenment. So if you guess right, so if you don't mind, we'll take a quick break. I'm going to share 4 quotes, and if you get it right, you're going to get some Swiss chocolate. So, who said this? Who? Ah, not too bad he's not here. He would have gotten the chocolate. Okay? David Taylor. Who said this? It was a few hours ago in this room. Rebecca Lynn. That was quite insightful for me. Who said this? Bravo. Someone was in that panel. And who said this? All right. Even if you didn't attend, who else would it sound like? So, P&Gers love models, so you're going to walk away with one more. The mindset model. The P&G mindset model. We talked about resilience. That's the start. All right? So going back to Audemars Piguet, we're going to go around the clock very quickly. It's a model, it's an internal operating system, and it shapes how we interpret challenges and how we deal with them. But it's not what you think, it's how you think about it. And it's a lens that shapes everything. So let me show you what I mean one by one. Inclusion. Once you've built resilience inside yourself, the next step is learning how to direct that strength outward. And that's where inclusion comes in. Because inclusion isn't about representation, it's about readiness. In the DEI backlash session, we heard a sobering truth. There's rising resistance in many corners of the world and in many boardrooms to the very idea of equity, inclusion, or even just sharing political and operational power. But that doesn't mean we shrink, it means we double down with strategy and with heart. We learned that inclusion isn't about checking boxes, it's about building environments where people don't have to armor up just to get through the day. And it's about designing teams where difference is expected and respected and amplified. Mindset becomes inclusion when you decide everyone deserves a seat and a voice. Progress. This is mindset looking towards the future. Not about movement, but about moving with purpose. For the first time in years, talent is back in the top 3 priorities we learned from a session earlier today. Think about that. In a world obsessed with AI, tech, automation, speed, it's human capability that's coming back into focus. Because progress that forgets people isn't progress, it's just pressure dressed in digital clothing. So prioritize people when pursuing changes and dealing with challenges. Because when disruption is as constant as it is, your biggest edge won't be faster tools. It'll be the wise teams using them. Entrepreneurship. Quite a hot topic this afternoon. Ooh, very exciting. This is mindset looking towards the realm of uncertainty. Entrepreneurship isn't a department in a company or in a VC or in a private equity group or an investment fund. It's a mindset of ownership, especially when no one's handling things for you or giving you permission to do it. That mindset showed up in the fireside chat that we had yesterday morning. David, the steward of one of the last remaining academic companies, as he put it, and Daniel, a startup builder who's failed so many times he's lost count. 2 different eras, 2 different generations, one single message. If you want to lead, act like a steward for a 20-year mission, not the prisoner of your 3 to 7 year shift on the business. That's the true entrepreneurial mindset. Play the long game, build what outlasts even you. Sustainability. Mindset stretched across time and space. At the Oliver Wyman lunch, someone asked, what's the forever business model? What does that look like? What can it be? It might have been the most important question of the decade. Sustainability isn't compliance, it's designing a system that you prove to leave behind. Delta has one, P&G obviously has one. What about your business, or what about the clients that you work with? Jim Stengel reminded us of 3 core concepts. You can't build a brand without being in culture, you can't build a business without strong teams, and you can't build resilience without staying close to your customers' values. All of these are long-term pieces of a business puzzle and of a life puzzle. So across panels, we heard it again, with mega forces converging. Any single force that we've seen in any other century other than this one would have defined that era. Now we have 4, 5, 10 of them, and they're all compounding on each other, and they're all reinforcing each other, and not in the ways that we'd like or expect. What's your path forward? To build systems with regenerative intent. That takes mindset, that takes long-term sustainability thinking, and that takes the desire to build with endurance. More than halfway around the clock. Leadership, which is mindset in action. It's about being in service of something greater than yourself. We heard today that the attrition rates of most employers are 3 to 4 times what they used to be. That means recruiting and then recruiting again to find the same people that they lost. When you call people, and as one of the speakers said, when you call people heads, when you refer to them as basically office furniture, as if they can be replaced, then you've already lost the game. Leadership in 2025 isn't about managing resources, it's about honoring humans. So if you're not building a workforce with dignity, if you're not investing in the teams and the tools and the capabilities, then no strategy will save you. Leadership is not a title, it is the ultimate mindset. Trust. We started the conference with trust, and we will almost end it with trust. Mindset in the community format. Every moment you build trust, you're buying time. Every moment you break it, you're burning it. David Taylor meant it when he said that P&G people have a specific set of values. And that's not nostalgia. It's not to make us feel good. It's not to just pass the time and make the weekend go by. It's why this alumni network exists and why so many of us picked up like we never were off like we never left off when we saw each other, with calls out from the stage repeatedly. Lastly, the legacy. The legacy of P&G, the legacy of us, the legacy of the Alumni Network. This is mindset beyond the self, looking outwards, looking at ourselves, looking retrospectively back towards ourselves. It's the kind that, unfortunately he stepped out, it's the kind that Mohan actually talked about in a very nice and subtle way a few hours ago. He said, if your people are like your family, as in your colleagues at work are like your family, and the world is as uncertain as it is, then embrace them, bring them in under your wing, protect them, secure them. Then use AI and strategy and clarity and operations to do everything else. But protect your people first. Make them your legacy. Make them part of the journey and make them a valued part of that journey. Because 10 years from now, no one will remember the Q3 that you had. They'll remember if you gave them oxygen when they got it right. Which brings us full circle back to mindset. In a world with uncertainty, mindset is your most scalable asset. It's completely in your control, and it only needs you and your energy to propel it forward. So, of all of us, if I come back to the theme of this keynote, all of us having left P&G at some point. When I left, my parents called that risky. But they were the generation where if they even managed to get an education, they got a job, and they finished with that job. That universe doesn't exist anymore. My generation, the average jobs on a CV will be 10, and I believe the one coming just after me is 20. We're not anymore exploring a single career. We're building a portfolio of multifaceted career options and career experiences. We jump, we bet, we reinvent. And through it all, what holds? Our values. The kind that stay, where people matter, where clarity beats noise, where we don't cut corners, and where we build things to last. It's a mindset, and with P&G not just being our employer, but our academy, it was where many of us learned how to lead, how to think, how to treat people. It's a community of mindset carriers, a global network of people trained to be builders, not just passengers. And that, my friends, is very rare. So here's my ask, and here's your KPI. Don't leave the knowledge, the spirit, and of course the mindset that you've been exposed to in Berlin. Take it into your next meeting, your next pitch, your next pivot, your next crisis, your next 9 career options. Because the world doesn't need more experts. It doesn't need more graduates from Harvard. It doesn't need more unicorns. It doesn't need you to go viral. It does need you to connect with people who share your values and to compound that energy together and build something much bigger than any single one of us can do on our own. None of what makes someone say, I trust you with this because I know who shaped you, that cannot exist without the training that we got from P&G. And P&G and the Alumni Network need people like us to continue professing these values in any organization and any client and any boardroom or kids' room that we find ourselves in. So, you know where to go home to. You know that this is our homecoming. Now go out to the world and share it with your families, your friends, your colleagues, and make the world a slightly better place and a slightly more certain place. Thank you.